Introduction to the Coalition. In a distant corner of the galaxy, where stars twinkled like diamonds on a velvet canvas, a gathering of diverse alien species convened in a massive chamber aboard their flagship, the Unity. This was not just any meeting. It was a historic moment, the first joint military exercise with humanity. The United Coalition of Species, a formidable alliance known for its advanced technology and strategic prowess, had invited Earth's representatives to showcase their capabilities. Among them stood Private James Callahan, a soldier from Earth, feeling both excitement and trepidation. He was aware that this was not just an exercise but also a test of humanity's worthiness in the eyes of these technologically superior beings. As he glanced around, he saw various alien races. Zeller from Chian, with his shimmering exoskeleton and multifaceted eyes. Threx, the towering reptilian commander whose scales glinted ominously under the artificial lights, and others whose forms were as varied as their home planets. "You call that a weapon? It looks more like a farming tool," scoffed Zeller, his mandibles clicking in amusement as he examined Callahan's rifle. Callahan felt a familiar flush of irritation rise within him, but kept his expression neutral. The M4 carbine slung over his shoulder was not just any weapon. It was a symbol of human ingenuity, simple yet effective. He had grown accustomed to such mockery. After all, humanity was still seen as rough around the edges compared to these advanced beings. Around him, laughter erupted among the gathered alien soldiers. They were members of an alliance that had perfected warfare over millennia, wielding energy-based weapons capable of unimaginable destruction. To them, Callahan's rifle appeared archaic, a relic from an age long past. "What's this thing even made of?" "Steel," Zeller continued, turning the rifle over in his spindly claws. "You realize that kinetic weapons are a thing of the past, right? We've been using energy-based systems for centuries." Callahan shrugged, trying to maintain his composure. "You don't have to like it," he replied casually, "but it gets the job done." Another wave of laughter erupted from the aliens, their voices echoing off the metallic walls. It seemed like an endless cycle of mockery directed at him, an outsider in this grand assembly. But Commander Threx's booming voice cut through the din like a blade. "Enough," he barked, silencing the room instantly. "Private Callahan, care to explain your weapon's capabilities? I'm genuinely curious." Callahan took a deep breath and glanced at his rifle again before addressing the assembly. "This here is an M4 carbine," he began confidently. "It shoots a 5.56 x 45 mm NATO round, lightweight and reliable. It can fire in semi-automatic or 3-round burst modes with an effective range of about 500 meters. Zeller snorted derisively, his amusement faltering slightly. "And how does it compare to our plasma rifles?" he challenged. Callahan chose his words carefully. "Plasma rifles are certainly impressive. They can melt through most standard armors without doubt," he acknowledged. "But they have weaknesses, power consumption issues, recoil dampeners that can fail, overheating after sustained fire." Zeller waved a claw dismissively. "Excuses. Plasma is the future. What's the point of hurling a piece of metal at your target when you could incinerate them with a pulse of light?" Locking eyes with Zeller, Callahan remained calm. "The point is, it works." Before Zeller could retort further, Commander Threx interjected with authority. "Let's put this debate to rest, shall we? Field test now. I want to see what the human's weapon can do." He gestured toward a door leading to the firing range. "Private Callahan, you have the floor," Threx commanded. With an air of amusement still lingering among them, the aliens followed Callahan into the firing range, a massive room designed to withstand even their most powerful weapons. Plasma burns and ion scorch marks lined its walls like battle scars from previous tests. As they entered, Callahan felt their eyes on him. Some filled with pity, while others reflected superiority. They truly believed they had already won whatever competition this was meant to be. "All right, human," Zeller sneered from one side, his multi-lensed eyes glinting with mockery. "Show us what that relic can do." Callahan nodded resolutely as he walked toward the center of the range with determination coursing through him. He flipped off the safety on his rifle and aimed down its sights at one of the hardened metal targets positioned far downrange. A sharp crack echoed through the room as he squeezed the trigger, the recoil familiar and comforting against his shoulder. The round sped downrange before striking one of the metal target's dead center with immediate impact. A small, neat hole punched through reinforced steel. The aliens blinked in unison, their expressions shifting from amusement to surprise as Zeller's smug demeanor faltered momentarily. "All right," Zeller admitted grudgingly. "So it can penetrate metal. Impressive for a projectile." "Try the shielded target next," Threx ordered calmly but firmly, his tone neutral yet commanding attention. Callahan adjusted his stance and aimed at one of their shimmering energy shields farther downrange, a point of pride among coalition forces, known for deflecting plasma bolts and explosive munitions alike. No one expected Callahan's rifle to do much against it. After all, it was designed specifically to withstand far greater forces than mere bullets. He fired again, a crack splitting through air once more as another round sped toward its target. What happened next would change everything. The first demonstration. As the echoes of Callahan's rifle shot faded, a tense silence enveloped the firing range. The aliens stood frozen, their expressions shifting from skepticism to shock. The neat hole in the metal target was undeniable evidence of human capability, yet it was merely the beginning of what would unfold. The challenge intensifies. "Let's see if that was just a lucky shot," Zeller said, his voice dripping with sarcasm. "Why don't you try hitting the energy shield next? I'd love to see how your farming tool fares against our technology." Callahan felt a surge of determination. He knew this was not just about proving himself. It was about representing humanity. He adjusted his stance, focusing on the shimmering energy shield that stood tall at the far end of the range. It was a marvel of engineering, designed to absorb and deflect energy blasts from advanced weaponry. "All right," he replied, taking a deep breath to steady his nerves. "Let's see what happens." Aiming for greatness, he took aim once more, aligning his sights with the center of the shield. The aliens watched intently, their eyes filled with a mix of curiosity and disbelief. Callahan squeezed the trigger again, feeling the familiar recoil as another round shot forth. The bullet struck the shield with a faint flicker, and to everyone's astonishment, it pierced through. The energy barrier shimmered momentarily before collapsing under the impact. Gasps filled the room as Callahan lowered his rifle, his heart racing. Zeller's jaw dropped in disbelief. That should not be possible," he exclaimed, his mandibles clicking together in frustration. Shifting perceptions. Commander Threx stepped forward, his imposing figure casting a shadow over Callahan. "This is unexpected," he said slowly, his tone now laced with intrigue rather than mockery. "Your weapon has capabilities we did not anticipate." Callahan felt a rush of pride, but quickly tempered it with humility. "It's not just about the weapon," he replied. "It's about how we use it." Threx nodded thoughtfully. "Perhaps we underestimated your species." He turned to address the other aliens gathered around. "We must reconsider our strategies if humans can achieve such results." A new dynamic. The atmosphere in the room shifted dramatically. What had begun as a session of mockery now transformed into one of respect and curiosity. The coalition soldiers began to murmur among themselves, exchanging glances that conveyed newfound admiration for their human counterparts. "Let's conduct further tests," Threx commanded, his voice booming through the range. "We must evaluate all aspects of this weapon and its potential applications in our joint operations." Callahan felt a wave of relief wash over him. He had not only defended humanity's honor but had also opened doors for collaboration and understanding between species. Testing human ingenuity. As more targets were set up, holographic simulations of hostile entities, Callahan prepared for another round of demonstrations. This time, He would showcase more than just firepower. He would demonstrate human ingenuity in tactics and strategy. Watch closely, he instructed as he moved to a new position on the range. I'll show you how we adapt under pressure. With each shot fired, Callahan explained his thought process, how humans often relied on creativity and quick thinking rather than sheer technological superiority alone. He demonstrated rapid target acquisition and precision shooting, while explaining how teamwork played a crucial role in human military operations. A lesson in adaptability. The aliens observed intently, some taking notes while others whispered among themselves in their native tongues. Zealer's earlier arrogance had faded entirely. Now he seemed genuinely interested in understanding human methods. Your tactics are unconventional, Zeller admitted grudgingly as he watched Callahan move fluidly between targets. Callahan smiled at this unexpected compliment. We've learned to make do with what we have, he replied. Sometimes it's about being resourceful rather than having the most advanced equipment. Building trust. As Callahan continued demonstrating various shooting drills, Threx approached him with a contemplative expression. Your adaptability could prove invaluable in our upcoming operations, he said thoughtfully. Callahan nodded appreciatively, but remained cautious. We still have much to learn from you all as well, he replied sincerely. Threx regarded him with newfound respect and gestured for Zeller to join them. Perhaps we can develop a training program that combines our strengths, Threx suggested. Zeller looked skeptical, but intrigued at the same time. You mean, teach humans our advanced tactics? Yes, Threx affirmed confidently. And in return, we can learn from your resilience and creativity. A new alliance forms. The idea sparked excitement among both humans and aliens alike. What had begun as an exercise filled with doubt and condescension was now evolving into an alliance built on mutual respect and understanding. As they discussed potential training programs and collaborative strategies, Callahan felt a sense of belonging wash over him, a feeling that humanity was no longer just an afterthought in this vast galaxy, but rather an integral part of something greater. Preparing for future challenges. With newfound camaraderie forming between them, Callahan realized that this exercise had far exceeded any expectations he had held before stepping onto the Unity. They were no longer just soldiers from different worlds. They were allies preparing for an uncertain future together. As they wrapped up their session for the day, Threx turned to Callahan one last time. Tomorrow we will begin our joint training exercises, he announced decisively. Prepare your team. We have much work ahead. Callahan nodded firmly, feeling invigorated by this new challenge ahead of them, one that would test not only their skills, but also their ability to unite across vast differences for a common goal. Looking ahead, as he left the firing range alongside his new alien comrades, Callahan couldn't shake off the feeling that they were on the brink of something monumental, a moment where humanity would prove its worth among the stars. With each step forward into this unknown territory came hope, a hope that they could forge alliances strong enough to face whatever threats lay ahead in this expansive universe filled with wonders yet to be discovered. And so began a journey unlike any other. A journey where humans would redefine their place among advanced civilizations by showcasing their unique strengths through collaboration and ingenuity against all odds. The real test. The atmosphere in the firing range was thick with anticipation. Callahan stood at the center, his heart pounding as he prepared for the next challenge. The aliens who had once mocked him now watched with a mix of curiosity and respect. Commander Threx's earlier command echoed in his mind. Let's see what the human's weapon can do. A new challenge awaits. Callahan adjusted his grip on the M4 carbine, feeling the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders. This wasn't just about proving humanity's worth. It was about forging a bond with these alien allies. He glanced at the shimmering energy shield that stood before him, a symbol of the advanced technology that had once seemed so intimidating. Are you ready? Threx asked, his voice deep and resonant. Ready, Callahan replied, determination fueling his words. Zeller stood nearby, his multifaceted eyes fixed on Callahan with newfound seriousness. "Let's see if your farming tool can do more than just punch holes in metal," he said, though there was no mockery in his tone this time, only genuine interest. Taking aim, Callahan took a deep breath and focused on the shield. He remembered his training back on Earth, the countless hours spent honing his skills at the shooting range. This was different, though. This was an opportunity to show that humans could hold their own against advanced civilizations. He aimed carefully, aligning the sights with the center of the shield. The aliens watched in silence, their expressions a mix of skepticism and hope. With a steady hand, he squeezed the trigger. The rifle cracked loudly, and the bullet sped toward the energy shield. As it struck, there was a brief flicker, a moment where time seemed to stand still. Then, to everyone's astonishment, the bullet passed through the shield as if it were made of air. Shock and awe. Gasps erupted from the alien soldiers. Ziller's mandibles clicked in disbelief as he took a step back. "That should not be possible," he exclaimed. Threx's eyes narrowed as he processed what had just happened. "This changes everything," he said slowly, his voice filled with wonder. "Your weapon has capabilities we did not anticipate." Callahan felt a surge of triumph, but quickly tempered it with humility. "It's not just about the weapon," he reminded them. "It's how we use it." A shift in strategy. The aliens began to huddle together, murmuring among themselves as they recalibrated their perceptions of human capabilities. Commander Threx stepped forward again, this time with a look of determination etched across his scaled face. "We must rethink our approach," Threx announced to the assembly. "If humans can breach our energy shields, we need to analyze their tactics further." Zettler nodded slowly, still processing what had transpired. "Perhaps we underestimated them," he admitted reluctantly. Callahan felt a sense of camaraderie building among them, a bridge forming between two worlds that had once seemed so far apart. Training together. As discussions continued about how to integrate human tactics into their strategies, Threx proposed an idea. "Let us conduct joint training exercises. We can learn from each other." Callahan's heart raced at the thought. This was an opportunity not just for him, but for all of humanity to showcase their strengths alongside these powerful allies. "Absolutely," Callahan agreed enthusiastically. "We can share our tactics and learn from yours." The aliens nodded in agreement, their expressions shifting from skepticism to excitement as they began to envision a collaborative future. Preparing for combat scenarios. The next day dawned bright aboard the Unity, and Callahan found himself leading a group of both human and alien soldiers in a series of combat simulations designed to test their combined strengths. They set up various scenarios: ambushes in urban environments, defensive positions against overwhelming forces, and stealth operations that required precision and teamwork. Callahan felt invigorated as he shared human tactics that emphasized adaptability and quick decision-making. He demonstrated how humans often relied on ingenuity rather than brute force alone. "Sometimes it's not about having the best technology," he explained during one exercise. "It's about outsmarting your opponent, learning from each other." As they trained together, Callahan watched as alien soldiers adapted quickly to human strategies, while also incorporating their own advanced technology into the mix. The coalition began to blend their strengths seamlessly, plasma weapons working alongside traditional firearms in ways that had never been seen before. Zeller surprised everyone by mastering human tactics faster than expected. He showed remarkable skill in using cover effectively while coordinating with Callahan's team during drills. "This is fascinating," Zeller exclaimed after successfully executing an ambush maneuver alongside human soldiers. "Your methods are efficient." Callahan couldn't help but smile at this unexpected praise. It felt like validation for all those moments spent underestimating themselves against superior technology. Building trust through collaboration. As days turned into weeks, trust grew between humans and aliens alike. They shared stories around campfires at night, tales of bravery and resilience that transcended species barriers. Callahan learned about Zeller's home planet Chian, a world filled with vibrant colors and unique wildlife. And Zeller learned about Earth's history, its wars and triumphs over adversity. "Your people have faced great challenges," Zeller remarked one evening as they sat together under starlit skies aboard the Unity. "It makes sense now why you fight so fiercely." Callahan nodded thoughtfully. "We've always had to adapt to survive. A new threat emerges, but amidst this newfound camaraderie came whispers of an impending threat, an enemy force rumored to be targeting coalition planets across the galaxy. The urgency grew as intelligence reports flooded in detailing skirmishes near key territories. Commander Threx gathered everyone for an emergency meeting one evening in the Unity's command center, a vast room filled with holographic displays showcasing maps of conflict zones. "We face a formidable enemy," Threx stated gravely, addressing both human and alien soldiers gathered around him. "But together, we stand stronger than ever before." Callahan felt a rush of adrenaline. They were no longer separate entities, but one unified force ready to confront whatever challenges lay ahead. Preparing for battle. As preparations began for what would be their first joint mission against this unknown enemy force, Callahan reflected on how far they had come since that initial day filled with mockery and doubt. They were no longer just humans or aliens. They were allies bound by respect and shared purpose, ready to face whatever dangers awaited them among the stars. With each passing moment leading up to battle approached closer, the stakes higher than ever before. He knew that humanity would prove its worth against even the most advanced civilizations. The tactical shift. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the metallic surfaces of the Unity, Private James Callahan felt a mix of excitement and apprehension. The training exercises had gone well, but now they faced a real threat. The Coalition had received intelligence about a hostile force that was advancing toward their territory, and it was time to put their newfound alliance to the test. A new enemy emerges. The command center buzzed with activity as soldiers from both human and alien backgrounds prepared for the upcoming mission. Holographic displays flickered to life, showcasing maps dotted with red markers indicating enemy positions. Callahan stood shoulder to shoulder with Commander Threx and Zeller, both of whom were studying the tactical layout intently. "This enemy is unlike any we faced before," Threx said, his tone grave. "They are aggressive and well-armed. We need to combine our strengths if we hope to overcome them." Callahan nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders. "We can use guerrilla tactics," he suggested. "Hit them hard and fast, then disappear before they can retaliate." Zeller's mandibles clicked thoughtfully. "Interesting approach," he mused. "But we must also consider our technology. If we can create distractions using our energy weapons while your team flanks them, we might gain the upper hand." Formulating a plan. As they discussed strategies, Callahan felt a sense of camaraderie growing between them. They were no longer just representatives of different species. They were allies united by a common goal. The plan began to take shape, an intricate dance of human ingenuity and alien technology. "Let's divide into small teams," Callahan proposed. "One team will create diversions using plasma blasts while another team moves in for close engagement." Threx nodded approvingly. "And we will utilize our shields to protect your team during the flanking maneuver," he added. With their strategy solidified, the atmosphere in the command center shifted from tension to determination. They were ready to face whatever lay ahead. Preparing for battle. As night fell, Callahan gathered his team, human soldiers who had trained alongside their alien counterparts. He could see the resolve in their eyes, a fire ignited by the prospect of defending their newfound allies. "Listen up," Callahan called out, commanding attention. "Tonight, we fight not just for ourselves, but for everyone aboard the Unity. We've trained hard for this moment, and now it's time to show what we're made of." His words resonated with his fellow soldiers. They felt a sense of purpose that transcended their individual identities. They were part of something bigger, a coalition fighting against a common enemy. The calm before the storm. As they prepared their gear and checked their weapons, Callahan took a moment to reflect on how far they had come since that first day of mockery in the firing range. Now they stood united against an external threat, ready to prove that humanity was not to be underestimated. "Remember our training," he reminded his team as they donned their helmets and secured their gear. "Stay together, communicate clearly, and trust each other." With a final nod of encouragement, they boarded their transport ships, sleek vessels designed for speed and agility. As they took off into the starry sky, Callahan felt a surge of adrenaline coursing through him. This was it, the moment where they would test their mettle against an enemy that sought to tear them apart. Engaging the enemy. The transport ships glided smoothly through space before descending onto the surface of an alien planet where intelligence indicated that enemy forces were gathering. As they landed, Callahan's heart raced with anticipation. "Move out," he ordered as they disembarked from the ships. The landscape was rugged, rocky terrain interspersed with patches of alien vegetation that glowed faintly in the dim light. They moved stealthily through the underbrush, keeping low to avoid detection. Suddenly, explosions erupted in the distance, the sound of plasma blasts lighting up the night sky as Zeller's team initiated their diversionary tactics. "Now's our chance," Callahan shouted as he signaled his team forward, executing their plan. With adrenaline pumping through their veins, Callahan and his team sprinted toward enemy positions, while Ziller's team continued to create chaos on the other side. The air crackled with energy as plasma bolts flew overhead. It was a chaotic yet exhilarating sight. They reached an enemy encampment, a cluster of makeshift structures surrounded by guards armed with energy weapons. Callahan signaled for silence as they took cover behind rocks and trees. "On my mark," he whispered, gauging their positions carefully. With one swift motion, he raised his rifle and fired at an exposed guard. A sharp crack echoed through the air as the bullet struck true. The guard crumpled to the ground without a sound. Turning the tide. The element of surprise worked in their favor as chaos erupted around them. Human soldiers moved swiftly through enemy lines, while their alien allies provided cover fire from afar using plasma rifles that lit up the night like fireworks. Callahan felt exhilarated as he maneuvered through the camp. Each shot fired was precise and calculated. They were outnumbered but not outmatched. Every human soldier fought with tenacity born from years of struggle against overwhelming odds. "Push forward," he yelled over the din of battle as they advanced deeper into enemy territory. A moment of doubt. But just as victory seemed within reach, an unexpected wave of reinforcements surged into view. Enemy soldiers clad in heavy armor armed with formidable weapons that could turn the tide against them. "Fall back," Threx shouted through their comms as he assessed the situation from a distance. Callahan's heart sank. They had pushed too far too quickly without accounting for potential reinforcements. But instead of panic setting in, he felt clarity wash over him. A realization that this was where human ingenuity would shine through once more. Rallying together. "Zeller, we need your plasma blasts now," Callahan shouted into his communicator as he regrouped with his team behind cover. Zeller responded immediately. Moments later, brilliant beams of energy sliced through enemy ranks like hot knives through butter, creating openings for human soldiers to exploit. "Now, move," Callahan commanded as they surged forward again amidst the chaos. Each soldier moving with purpose, fueled by determination and trust in one another. Victory against all odds. As battle raged on around them, their combined forces began to turn back enemy advances slowly but surely, the tide shifting in favor of unity forged through mutual respect and understanding. Finally, after what felt like hours but had only been minutes, the last remnants of resistance crumbled before them. Victory was theirs. Breathless but triumphant, Callahan stood amidst his fellow soldiers, their faces illuminated by distant fires burning around them, a testament not only to what they had accomplished together, but also how far they had come since that initial day filled with doubt and mockery. Reflections on Unity. As they survey the aftermath, scattered debris littering what had once been an enemy camp, Callahan felt pride swell within him once more. Humanity had proven its worth among these advanced civilizations, not just through weaponry, but also through resilience, forged in collaboration across species lines. In this moment, a new chapter began, not just for him or Earth, but for all those who dared challenge preconceived notions about strength, showing that sometimes it takes more than technology alone. It takes heart, courage, creativity, and above all else, a willingness to stand together against adversity.